Yeah, the little one, but with the amplifier. I mean, I
Yes,
ran
it's
it.
gettable.
I don't see a problem so far.
No, you need to have a good power supply, a stable one.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
I
I know
hope
where to buy
Edward
them.
drops in. I'd like to hear what new stuff he may have seen in Orlando, if anything.
I'm curious if Ed is going to join us. I'm kind of curious what the progress is on his car.
I'll call him. I'll be right back.
Yeah,
Ed, I have Ed
there
on.
he is. There he is.
Okay. I have Ed and Bob on speed dial.
I can understand. Ed, you got any update on the news on your car? You're muted.
We'll get an update on rig of the week.
Yeah. No, I the car is a nightmare. California called me today and said that they hope to have an answer for me tomorrow. Now, if they don't come through, there's a company that handles just lemon laws. They have let this thing slip into the qualifications for Florida lemon law. So one way or another, they're going to have to do something. The show, Hamcation, was really great. I couldn't rent the scooter, but I was able to walk the whole show by having two of the lidocaine patches on my back. I was there the whole day and it was fine. The first place I went to was Flex, and they remembered that I had placed an order in August and that I canceled it in December, and how upset I was. And I don't know, the Lori is one of the principals, but she definitely has some power at that company. Of course, she called somebody over and make sure he's back into group one. And I paid for it, and they assure me that I'll have it in April. We'll see.
Yeah, right.
Probably.
They didn't say April of what year.
That's the point. They did not say what year.
No
But
no picture, Edward.
oh, no picture. What? Oh, I'm falling apart here. Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing that was shocking is I guess Kenwood's getting out of the amateur business. How do you be in the amateur business and not even show at the second largest
I got
campaign?
news for you.
When
The
did you hear
same
that, Ed?
thing happened a couple of years ago at Dayton, where they didn't show, and it was so obvious that they were missing, and it was like that for a couple of years, where they didn't show.
What's wrong with them? Are they actually getting out of the business?
I don't know. Um, I do know that years ago, when I worked for Ham Radio Outlet, Jim Rafferty in Anaheim was the VP, and they never went to Dayton or any other, what do you call it, PacCon, any of the big ham fests. And he said, his answer was, I don't need to go to Dayton and lose money. He said, I can stay right here in the store and do that. So,
Then why bother taking the back page of QST every month showing radios that you no longer make? The 990 hasn't been in production for a year.
yeah.
They made a contract that for 20 years to show the same thing.
Well, the thing about that, Ed, is they sign a contract for advertising, so they're locked in, and they probably prepay it.
Wow.
With one radio to the press owner of the newspaper.
So I did finally get to see what the Aurora looks like in the form factor that I'm ordering. It is such a small radio.
Yeah.
That's 500 watts. It's mind-boggling that it actually will work because it takes up less space than like a 7610. And it's a 500-watt radio that runs 6 amps on 110.
Did you see yourself on the display like on aircraft? It's like a mirror.
Yeah, no.
So
Elecraft, you know,
display-
I went over to Elecraft. They were there. I went over to all the major manufacturers. It was a very enjoyable show.
Yaesu
But
have anything
how was
new?
it display on the Flex?
They had on display every iteration of the Aurora.
I mean, how was the monitor on the Aurora?
Oh, they had like I guess a 42-inch monitor with their software on it.
So the radio itself don't have any monitor on it.
No, the radio, well, if you went with the M version, it had the Maestro built into it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I was surprised at how small it is. It was really surprising. And their software looks spectacular. As a matter of fact, she said that they're offering me a $50 discount on the software. I had a crack up.
Oh yeah.
Did
Well-
Yaesu have anything interesting?
The what?
Yaesu, did they have anything new or interesting?
Nothing new,
No.
but they had a nice display of all their radios. What other companies did it?
well,
No, I-
ICOM was there.
Yeah, Icon was there, right? I didn't see anything else, something new and exciting.
Hey, I have a good news. I have to go.
So long, Ari.
Bye.
Yeah,
Ed, you-
another one, Edward, that was obvious as a no-show was Step IR.
Yeah, they weren't there. You're right. I didn't even think of that.
Well, they've gotten out of the ham radio business. They only are now commercial and military.
That's a shame.
Yeah,
You know, the industry is getting smaller and smaller, and the thing that shocked me at the show was the average age is probably 65, maybe even 70. There was very few young adults.
is that
There.
is that a surprise?
Yeah, yeah.
Not to me. Not to me. Well, just go to your local club.
For years.
I tell you what, we had VE session on Sunday, and we had 5 candidates, and one was an 11-year-old boy
Good.
passed his technician. So yeah, we get every other ham session. We do it once a month. We have people under 25. Yeah, so they're still there.
Unfortunately, Udo, they're not replacing us old geezers as we pop off. There aren't enough young kids.
Yeah, you have to just
cover the loss.
hold off on dying a little bit. Okay,
Yeah.
everybody,
Yeah, thanks.
you're not
Neil,
allowed
I've
to
got a
go away.
question for you. Neil, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Do you have any idea, does Yaesu make anything other than ham gear?
Yes.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Yeah, they make commercial radio equipment.
And Marine, I think.
Yes.
Do you
That's
have
correct.
any idea what their gross sales are a year?
No, I have no idea. I would have to say, going on the past, the big vendors, other than ham radio, would be Kenwood in Land Mobile and ICOM with Marine and Land Mobile. ICOM's very big in Marine.
Yaesu makes aircraft radios too.
What kind of radios?
Aircraft.
Oh,
Yes.
aircraft.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, but their marine radios are Standard Horizon. They bought Standard Horizon, which
Yeah.
was the big, you either had the big ones were Standard Horizon or ICOM for the boats. I've got an ICOM on my boat.
Icom makes aircraft as well, and so did Kenwood. I can remember when Kenwood was not Kenwood USA, the radios read Trio Kenwood,
Yep.
and they were all tube type radios.
Was my very, very first radio was a Trio radio. It was a
Yeah,
TR-220,
and Edward, I mean,
2200,
Edward,
you know.
Bob's probably going to say that I used to keep my log on papyrus. Oh, me.
Yeah.
Since I've been out of the business so long, I'm about giving up, keeping up with that sort of thing. But where is GE in mobile radio anymore?
I don't think
No clue. Hey,
Thank
hey,
you.
Neil,
Yes.
you ever hear of a guy named Phil Parton, Parton?
Doesn't
All right.
ring a bell.
I have been for 2.5 months now playing around with Kenwood, trying to get them to either send the club something or speak to us about whatever. I thought they were having a new mobile radio soon, as a matter of fact. I got their what do you call it? Support staff got right back to me, and they said all amateur radio questions like that need to go through this particular guy. I reached out to him twice. Never heard back from him. I reached out to him again and copied this guy. And the guy goes, "You need to reach out to so and so." I said, "This is my third time reaching out to him. He doesn't get back to me."
Huh.
So I don't know. They've got, JVC Kenwood is the header on it, and
Yeah.
amateur radio technical support is who I've been dealing with. They're very responsive, but that's as
Yeah.
far as I go.
Well, years ago, Joel was their customer support guy, and we became good friends. And I used to keep a sked with him daily because all the radios I had at that time, I had the 950 SDX, which was a great radio in its day. And I kept a daily sked with Joel. And he was living in California. He moved from California to Florida. He lived in Florida for a couple of years after he retired, and he's now up. Bob, I'm going from memory. I think he's up near you in the Pacific Northwest. And I hear from him every so often. I get an email from him, but he's been retired from Kenwood for a number of years now.
I just looked up the Yaesu annual gross sales. They don't break out Yaesu USA. It's JVC Yaesu, and they did $3 billion last year. I think they're okay.
JVC,
JVC Yaesu.
that's
is what-
Japan. That's Japan Victor.
Victor, yes. That's
that's-
who
what-
owns Yaesu.
What's that got to do with Yaesu?
They own them.
And also Kenwood?
I don't know about Kenwood, but they
Yeah.
JVC Yaesu is one company.
Wow.
Wow, that's shocking.
And they only did $3 billion last year, so we got radios for a while. Hi, John.
Ken?
Talking about Kenwood, I think the interesting point is over the last few years, why have they not produced any product, and what's going on with that? When I've talked to the U.S. Side of Kenwood, like at Hamvention, they really say, well, they don't tell us anything. Basically, it boils down to that. And they're just spinning stuff, but the lack of growth is interesting. The latest I know is they're finally got their mobile radio certified. I think that was in the news here in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So it is very slow moving forward. I'm assuming that they're going to be selling that at DX Engineering and HRO. But overall, I really don't have any insight into the company and why they're not producing radios and re-engineering stuff. It's very curious.
I misspoke. It is JVC Kenwood, not JVC Yaesu.
Thank you.
Sorry, my mistake. But they still did $3 billion last year, so I don't know why they're not making ham gear.
Yeah, Kenwood is Kenwood USA.
Yeah.
And, originally, when they first came into the U.S., it was called Trio Kenwood, and that was on all of their radios. The label said Trio, and there was, of course, those were all tube radios, and then it became Kenwood USA, and Kenwood actually had a facility in the Atlanta area. It was huge, but that was Land Mobile. And I went out there one day because I knew the national sales manager for the ham radio division. He had his office out there, and he took me on a tour, and they were fabricating some special stations, commercial stations that were huge. I mean, the facility they had out there was it was bigger than an aircraft hangar, a commercial aircraft hangar. And they were big, but then all of a sudden, they kind of like disappeared.
A little more information. Yaesu as an entity is listed with revenue around 18 to 19 million USD, which is consistent with a relatively small specialized communications manufacturer rather than a large electronics conglomerate. Boy, that's interesting. Yaesu is that much smaller.
You said how much billion?
18 to 19 million.
Oh, million. That's not even worth being in.
Yeah, really. I mean, Kenwood is far bigger with 3 billion.
Yeah,
We better buy more Yaesu radios.
the hobby's in trouble.
Keep them going, yeah.
I mean, I think that those economics may play into Kenwood's calculus as to what they want to produce and the return on capital. And it may be that you're trying to produce stuff in a dwindling hobby, and sales are not,
Yeah, you're probably right. When they have such a gross dollar volume in so many other areas, this is probably too small for them to even worry about any longer. I mean, we as a group are getting older, and there's fewer of us getting into the hobby, in spite of what Udo says. But really, if you look around, most of us are in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and older.
The Boca Raton Amateur Radio Association has one young man in it,
Yeah,
and his parents are hams, and that's it. Everybody else is.
I think you'll find that of most hobbies today are really dwindling. The kids have totally different interests than what we grew up with and what we found interesting.
Interestingly enough, the local club that I belong to, not the DX club, but which is a specialty group, but the North Fulton Amateur Radio League has about 6 or 7 ladies who are active, which to me is very unusual.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of that. And there was one I remember. Well, it was she and her husband, but she was an engineer, Kathy Freeman, really bright lady, and her husband had designed some. He was sharp. He designed some stuff, and then he became a silent key. And but Kathy is a graduate engineer, and she's a nice person, very nice lady. But you're right. Usually, if you see a youngster like when we have our summer picnic for field day and all, where we have a couple of hundred people come to the picnic, because the club itself has about 350 members. If you're any young people who are hams, it's because their parents or the father is a ham. And that's that. But there are a few in the local club, a handful of young people. By young, I mean, college age or high school age.
Thought you meant like John and myself.
I wonder if the RRL has ever broken out the age groups, how many people are in each age group. Be interesting to find out.
Well, you could probably ask the league. They keep records on that. And I do remember some years ago, the ARRL did a survey, and it questioned young people what they found most interesting about ham radio. And surprisingly, it was CW.
Well, I guess both those kids that are doing code, good for them.
I'm sitting here with my loyal Shure Key. Udo knows about Mr. Scheer, and he was a retired engineer and a machinist, and all of his keys were literally handmade, and they're exquisite. They're exquisite, and I have a special top, a dust cover that he made, where he would engrave your call sign backwards on the inside of the dust cover. So when you were looking at it, it would read the normal way. And I have one of those. I'll show you. Let me see if I have a picture of a Shure Key. Hold on a moment. They're quite nice. Full screen. Okay. Gotta put my glasses on.
Good looking watch you got there, Ed.
Oh, thanks.
I was talking about it earlier. I thought maybe you would have already sold it and traded in for another one.
No. I bought this in a moment of weakness. It makes absolutely no sense considering that, I have Apple watches, and I was in the jewelry store in St. Thomas, who's our favorite jewelry store, and my wife was getting something, and he happened to show it to me, and I said, wow, that's really nice. And then I bought it, which was The
Hey, Bob,
the equivalent of two of the yeah.
turn sharing on.
Oh, yeah. All right, hold on.
Is that a Rolex watch you got, or
Yes.
which one?
It's let's see. Well, let me, I think that the in their catalog it's like 16.5. I got it at a discount.
I bought a Rolex, and how I came about it was I was overseas, and this guy, I was living, on a military base overseas, and this was back in the late 70s, I guess, or so, and I was into shortwave, so I had a shortwave radio, and he wanted my shortwave radio, so I traded the shortwave radio for his Rolex watch
Wow.
and $350. So the radio was worth about $200. So I
What a deal.
got this GMT Master. I think it's I looked it all up because it's all got numbers on it, and I think it was a 79 or something like that, GMT Master, and one of those things.
They didn't make any cheap watches, so you got quite a deal.
Right.
The funny thing is, we went to, let's see, where was it? Oh, we went to Sanibel, and my best friend and his wife, and we walked into this pawn shop, and she noticed a watch that was in the pawn shop, and she has an eye for picking things out, and she looked at it, and she walked outside, called up somebody to check on it, walked back in and bought the watch, which was $600. It turned out that watch was a $30,000 watch. It cost her, sending it back to the manufacturer to have it cleaned and refurbished, $1,200 to have it worked on.
What
But
brand was it, Ed? What
It was
brand?
I couldn't even pronounce the brand of it, but it was a famous expensive watch. But it's amazing how she picked it out of all the watches that were in this pawn shop, and apparently nobody really knew the true value of it.
Neil, sharing is on, Neil.
Okay, let me go back to let me now go share. Okay, here we go. You see it?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, that is nice.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know
Does
what to
that-
do with it, but it's nice.
Does that work? Does that work with your Spark Gap?
Yeah.
That is everything on there is made by hand, and except 3 screws on the base, and you can't read it, but it says Gerhard Schur, and it has a serial number on it. And the other top that I have right in this area has my call sign.
That is really nice, Neil.
Yeah, it's a nice
Yeah.
nice unit.
Neil, if I can ask, what did they retail for at the time?
About 400.
Oh, that's expensive, but not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I bought the Gordon West discs 0 to 5 and 5 to 15, and I bought it like 3 or 4 years ago, thinking I'd get back into code. I never took off the packaging yet.
Okay. Okay. Back to normal.
John, you seen your buddy Morgan lately?
Morgan who?
I haven't seen him. I'm not in the local club anymore. I've taken a break from it. So I don't see him, but he did call me up a while back and we chatted for a while. He's doing fine. He's very active in the clubs around here. He's the go-to for HF antennas, and he always has an antenna project that he's working on. He likes getting aluminum tubing and building verticals and things like that. So
And
he's
is
doing
he
okay
still
as far
doing,
as I know.
is he still doing CW ops or did he stop doing that?
I don't know. Yeah, he was always big into that, and plus contesting. He did mention that he may be going to Newfoundland to do a contest up there, and he
Oh
was
yeah, he mentioned that to John. He asked John how far away that was. I remember that a few
yeah.
months back.
He's building a couple of antennas for that effort.
Huh. Interesting.
You remember me mentioning earlier Hal Kennedy's book. Well, here's his book, but on the back is a picture of Blue Lightning.
Yeah, I have that book.
So that's Blue Lightning. But that's the first volume, and the second one is identical. It just says the rate, it shows the volume 2, and he has a 101, by the way. That's his radio. I have to get him to come in one time. Neat guy.
Dave, you do any POTA?
You're muted. You're
You're
muted,
still-
Dave.
You're muted, Dave.
There you go. We hear you.
I was out a couple times. One day was pretty good, and the other day was not so great propagation-wise.
Yeah, I meant to look for Dave. Dave said he was going to be out for a month out in Utah. I forgot to turn on the Polo app. Haven't been looking at it lately, but I'm surprised Eric didn't get a hold of you because I know he watches and looks for you every day.
I did talk to Eric on one day for a while.
Where is Eric?
He said he wouldn't be able to get here. He had a doctor's appointment today.
Oh,
And he wanted me to take notes, but I said Uda would take them for him.
We'll send him the link to the video.
Oh, there you go. Even better. It doesn't matter. He'll still ask.
I know.
Dave, how's your son doing up in Alaska?
It's good. He calls me every once in a while to remind me that it's warmer there than it is here.
I loved Alaska. That was one of my favorite trips.
We have a lot of when the plows come by, they put a big pile of snow up against the curb, and it turned into ice. So today it was warm enough that some of the ice was melting, and this glove appeared, and I assume one of the guys from the garbage truck dropped it. But the way it appeared, it looked as though somebody had gotten frozen in the ice and just his blood was sticking out. I said, wow, that brought me back to my old days of working.
Yeah.
But no, there was nobody attached to it.
Is he still on duty even though they're not being paid now?
Yes. Yeah, and he does his banking with the Navy Federal Credit Union, and what the credit union does is they will give you each 2 weeks the amount that you are paid, and when you get paid, you just give it back to them, and there's no interest or anything. So he won't go without.
Wow, that's
He
great.
won't go without money.
Great.
But the time when there was one time when the government was shut down for weeks, and nobody was getting paid in the Coast Guard, and the credit union didn't do that. And I sent them some money, and the community had helped out and all. But yeah, it's and you still got to go to work.
There ought to be a law.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved when they said don't follow unlawful orders. Could you imagine being in the military and saying, let me decide whether the order that this colonel just gave me is lawful or not? Yeah, doesn't work that way.
Well, I think some of them might be obvious.
We had a colonel who had guys cutting using a lawnmower with 6 inches of snow on the ground. The guy was he was eventually removed when we had a sabotage alert. And instead of handing out the weapons without ammo, on a Friday night after everybody had been in the NCO club, he handed out weapons with live ammo. It took them 2 days to get them out. Plus a lot of stop signs that look like Swiss cheese. Oh, yeah. It's amazing nobody got killed. It really was.
John, life in Nova Scotia, how is things up there?
Well, things are pretty good. Temperature's been up, hovering around 0. That's 32 to you people. I've got a meter of snow on my deck at the back of the house. My driveway's I have a neighbor who's graciously doing my driveway for me so I can get in and out. Huge piles of snow. Some parts of Nova Scotia have had 2.5 meters of snow.
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness.
I could remember when I was in the Air Force that there was a town in upstate New York near the lake that in 1 week got 110 inches of snow, and they had to rescue people off of the roofs of their house.
Right.
Yeah, that's lake effect snow off Lake Ontario.
Right.
Same thing happens in Ontario coming off Georgian Bay until the bay freezes. We get we don't get lake effect snow, we get bay effect snow off the Bay of Fundy, and it never freezes.
Wow.
A little bit of sea ice going around in it now and then, but it never freezes solid. It can't. It flushes itself twice a day, as they say, with billions of tons of water.
Yeah, there's about a little bit of me that misses the snow, and then I say, what, am I crazy?
Well, I just make sure I have lots of food in the house, and my generator's got lots of propane.
Right.
And we just carry on.
Yeah,
I went out today because it was a nice day, temperature about 0. Roads are bare and dry. It was sunshine. I stocked up on some food that I didn't have. And I brought home supper, which I'll warm up one of these when I finish here.
We would have 1 or 2 days a year in Albany. Most people don't realize that Albany's one of the coldest places in New York State. And we'd have 1 or 2 days where it would be 20 and 30 below 0. And if you didn't have the water running in your house, you were in trouble because the pipes would freeze.
Yeah.
Yes.
Locally, when we have the crazy weather like we've had recently, the water utility company says you should take one of the faucets in the house and have it trickle.
Right.
The water will run, and you forestall the possibility of a frozen pipe.
Yeah.
We get about maybe 2 or 3 or 4 days a year when the temperature is around 0 Fahrenheit or -18. That doesn't happen all the time. We've had 2 or 3 this year. I don't know what happened when I was away, other than we had a lot of snow. I got disrupted coming home. I was supposed to come home through Toronto. They had 46 centimeters of snow, 1.5 at the airport in Toronto. It was closed.
What a
Well,
surprise.
How
We
far away are
started,
you from? How far away are you from Halifax, John?
About 3 hours.
Oh, okay. So it's still a bit, yeah.
we
But
started
I had to
doing
travel. I
something.
had to travel to Halifax quite often back in the 20 years ago.
We
But then
started
I-
doing
Halifax has a-
something different this year.
yeah.
We set the thermostat on the main floor at 75 degrees, whether it's nighttime or daytime. And out of curiosity, the local gas company gives you a chart on what you've used the year before as a comparison. And doing it that way, our usage is actually quite a bit less than when I would have it drop to, say, 65 degrees at night
Warm it up.
and then have it come up during the day. But keeping it at 75, just total, it seems to use less energy. Let me put it like that. Less gas, natural
That's,
gas.
yeah, that's the storage effect, Neil. And they use that in air conditioning where it takes a certain amount of energy to heat or cool the walls and ceiling of the house. And once that has happened, it takes very little energy to maintain it. Whereas if you let it drop to the 65, it takes a lot of energy to bring it back up to 75.
Yeah.
Don't you have to factor in what the weather conditions were on top of that? I
Yes.
mean, if you have an extremely cold winter, that would throw off your statistics.
Yeah.
Or a warm winter.
John, do you ever have your rotor freeze?
I have had that happen, yes.
What
That's
temperature
cold.
does it have to get down to?
Well, first you got to have some water in there somewhere so that it would freeze. Once it's down below 32, it's going to freeze.
Yeah.
Eric's hex beam just was frozen not long ago.
Yeah, it doesn't take much.
But the unit is sealed to begin with, isn't it?
Yeah, the unit's sealed, but it depends on a lot of things. I've only had it happen once, a long time ago.
I see. Okay.
And depends on the rotator too. Some of them are not as well sealed as others.
Thrust bearing's probably more exposed than the rotor.
Absolutely.
The rotor is probably pretty well sealed.
But the thrust bearing will freeze easily. It gets wet. And not, of course you put some grease in there, it'll keep the water out. But after years and years and years, it's going to freeze up.
Still waiting for good weather to bring mine down to fix it.
Ed, does your vertical ever freeze?
Yeah, right. No. In Albany, I had a G5 RV that would get so coated with ice that it would just come down.
Yeah. Wow.
And when I put up a 440 beam on the side of the house, I had to call the fire department to get me off the roof.
What's amazing is when you see it's called Radio Arcala, which is Finland. They have some big towers, and it's amazing to see the ice loading on the antennas, and they just come down. And if it doesn't come down, it's not big enough.
And antennas work better if they're put up and installed when the temperature is less than zero
Right.
Celsius. Touch wood, I haven't had much problem here with ice on my antennas. I've had some where things get heavily loaded with ice. Ice is heavy, water's heavy, and it'll bend elements and do all sorts of funny things. They don't always come back.
Edward, I know I've asked you this before, but your friend Henry,
Yeah.
is he still active?
Okay. Henry, he went to Hamcation. They spent a month putting up his Cushcraft R8, and when he uses it, he actually gets out better than I do, but he very rarely uses it. But he's very active in the club.
He's a nice guy.
A very nice guy.
Yeah.
He owned, I think, the largest marketing company in Manhattan with a partner. They did the Navy used to treat him aboard a submarine or an aircraft carrier, and they would give him a book with his pictures and stuff in it. It was really amazing. It's amazing the people that he knows. He had a problem with Comcast, and they were giving him the runaround. So he called the chairman of Comcast, who he knew, and within an hour, they had the problem solved. They had a team at his house.
You know, Edward, it's funny you mentioned that, because this is years ago. I was having a problem with interference and at the old house, not this one. And it was a transformer that was arcing, and I was getting the royal runaround from the power company. So I looked up who's the chairman of the power company. And I said, shit, I'm going to just call this guy. So I, got his, I call it the gatekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
The lady, and you have to go through. And she just said to me, I don't remember his name. She said, oh, Mr. Smith will want to hear that. So he gets on the line, and I tell him what the problem was. And he said, I'm sorry you're having an issue. I will take care of it. The following morning, there were like 5 power company trucks outside. And I walk out to the street and I look at this one guy who's doing nothing. He's just standing there. I said, he's got to be the foreman. So I walk over to him and I said, hey guys, how you doing? What you doing? He says, man, I don't know. Are you Mr. Foster who lives here? I said, yes. He says, I don't know who you know, but we got a work order that said if this was not fixed by 9 o'clock in the morning, there was going to be some serious ass kicking. I said, oh, I spoke to Mr. Smith. And he said, you spoke to the chairman? I said, what a nice guy. Easy to talk to. They fixed the problem.
Yeah. When you get to the right person, they can fix the problem. I wish I could find the right person at Hyundai.
Well, Neil, it just goes to show it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Absolutely.
Well, I didn't know the guy, but I said, the worst they can do if I call,
Right.
they'll hang up on me and say, go away.
Yeah.
I think I told you the story of the swimming pool in Albany, and I used to be in the pool business, so I knew that a 21 by 42 in-ground pool needed a very large heater. So at the time, the largest heater was 450,000 BTU. Now the
Wow.
house had natural gas. I had 75,000 BTUs upstairs, 75,000 BTUs downstairs. Never dawned on me that the line coming into the house wasn't big enough to handle this heater. So they said you have to call up Niagara Mohawk and you're going to have to order a new gas line. So I'm figuring I'll get this pool in next year sometime. I called them up and they said, no problem. We'll be there in the morning. They came, dug up the street, put a pipe like this in, put a Burger King gas meter on the side of the house, one of these huge meters. And then when they lit the heater, they stood around and clapped. Because this thing was burning about $4 an hour.
Wow.
Well, this has got to be about 6 years ago. Our phone service, the landline that we still have a landline, and the TV service, AT&T was installing fiber optic. So they came out and they were going to run the fiber optic line. And I mentioned to the guy who was here, nice chap, he had a what do you call it, a trencher. I had no idea that fiber optic cable, I have a piece of it in here that he cut off. It's unbelievably tiny.
Yeah, they're real small.
It's amazing. And the amount of data and stuff it carries. Anyway, I said to him, look, when you do your trenching, when you get over here in this area, you need to be careful because there's the irrigation pipeline. Oh, we'll be clear of it, no problem. Well, he gets within a foot of the terminal box and he hits the pipe. And the water is shooting up in the air about 10 feet. He stayed there all day until they could get someone to come out and turn off the water so they could fix the pipe. But they did put in the fiber optic line.
Hey guys, sorry I'm so late.
What are you munching on? Orange.
I got distracted from, as usual, from many different directions. I got the Olympics playing over here next to me. I was working on one of my social media groups. I was experimenting with a little circuit, which
what's interesting about we watched some of the Olympics, and it's interesting. It may be unpatriotic, but I was glad to see the young man from Kazakhstan win the medal.
Yeah.
They have that country had two people competing in the Olympics. Two people, little country, and the guy who won the men's figure skating, whatever it is. And I was really glad to see that, even though Ilya, whatever his name is, the quad god or whatever they call him. I'm glad to see that the guy from Kazakh won. And they put on a big effort. Two guys, no coach, and he won the gold medal. And that was nice. That's nice to see.
That was a great story.
Yeah.
And
And he'll go home and be a national hero.
oh yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
That being said, I just finished watching an interview with Ilya, and that young man was so composed and so grateful for where he
Yeah.
was and for his team that I'm thinking, wow, you know, yeah, he lost the medal, but he won the team because he was part of that team thing, right? He got a medal, and he's still young. He's only 21 years old, and his composure and his speech was so clear and clean and amazing. I just thought, this guy, no matter what he does, this guy is going to go someplace.
You know, it's interesting. In this morning's newspaper, the local Atlanta Journal, there was an article about that some of the countries subsidize or give bonuses or whatever you want to call it. And I don't remember which country it was, but if they win a medal, any medal, they wind up getting a big cash bonus. They get a new apartment. They get this and they get that vacation. And it's amazing what they give them.
Well, you know, and the question is that okay? Right. And I haven't really thought about that, but I'm thinking right now, okay, well, what do US skaters get? Well, their teams get a ton of money from the US Olympic Committee. Many of them are from families who can afford to pay, you know, to take them around to different competitions and so forth. They do get visibility. But these small countries with these people that don't get very much of that, I don't know, maybe I'm okay with that. I'm not sure. It's something to think about. I don't know. Hey, you know me, guys, I love sharing. And I have something that is really cool that I'm not sure if any of you have ever seen. And it relates to my experimenting with a little circuit that was, the question came up on a Facebook group about what the voltage would be between two capacitors if they were connected to a motor. And I thought, wow, that's kind of I mean, it's a simple circuit and an interesting thing to talk about. But I remembered that I have and we all have access to this, a very, very fun way to do circuit simulation. So I should ask, would you mind if I showed it to you?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Bob. So as usual, I need to ask for permission to share.
It's all done. Go on, you're on.
Okay, so now I got to find my Zoom meeting again. Here we go. This is really cool. I think you guys are going to like it. And share. I guess I'll share screen one. Okay, can you see what's on my screen?
No.
Not yet.
No.
There.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So where this came from was this Facebook post. So this guy says, you know, at the center between the two capacitors, what is the volts and amps across the DC motor? And of course, there's 146 comments about this. Most people are saying 0, which I believe is correct. But the one thing that's not clear about this little diagram is that while it's clear that this is a DC motor, it's not clear that this is a DC source, right?
Well, it says a plus sign up there.
That's true. Okay, so that's the evidence. But I got to thinking, well, what if you put an AC source on it? So that's where I came back to my circuit thing, which is I got to find it again.
Well, then you need to know the frequency.
Of course. And so this is a website. It's also an app you can download to your Android phone. I'm not sure about iPhone. It's called Every Circuit, and it's just everycircuit.com. And it lets you build circuits and simulate them. So I just built this thing in about 5 minutes. And you know, it's got these cool little graphic symbols. Up here are all the different symbols. You know, you can drop switches in there. You can put just a whole range of stuff. If you go way over here, you got transistors, FETs, gates, you know, all kinds of cool stuff. So I built this. Here's the motor. So there's a DC motor that's right there. And I put the resistor in and the 2 capacitors, and I put an AC source. Now these are voltmeters and ammeters. They have nothing to do with the circuit, but they allow you to visualize the voltages and currents that are going on in your circuit. So I set this voltage, the source, to be AC. That's what the AC symbol is. There's a DC source up here as well, over here. So there's the DC source. So you can set the voltage and the frequency. So right now I got it set at 2 kilohertz. I've got my DC voltage set at 12 volts. And wait a minute. So I guess I'm not sure what the difference between DC voltage and amplitude is.
Probably is an offset.
Maybe. Let's try
Yeah, I
putting
mean-
them both to 12 volts. Isn't this a cool little way of adjusting it? Okay. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to say run, and you can run it in the time domain or in the frequency domain. And so I'm going to run it in the time domain, and immediately it goes into action. And it shows you the voltages and currents through all the devices. You see that? And I can also select these meters, and I can put them up as a graph. I can do all 3 of them. So here I have the voltage source. It's zipping right along. So let's slow that down. I'm going to click it over here. I'm going to go to the tools. Let's see, how do I, maybe I have to stop it to do that. So let's stop it and then click on it again, and now try the tool. Okay, let me hide the waveform and go back to it. Show waveform. Okay, so now I got to remember how to, I haven't used this in quite a while. I just pulled it up here a few minutes ago, actually. I can rewind, and let's try that again. Oh, I was clicking on the wrong thing. I was trying to adjust the voltmeter, which doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to go back to the source, click the wrench. I'm going to choose the frequency. I'm going to dial it back down to 60 hertz. Now it suddenly slowed down. Maybe that was because of all the stuff going on my computer. Oh, I know why, because I wasn't grabbing the right thing. So I can drag it all down to 60 hertz, and I can start it up again. And I can adjust the simulation speed if I want to see it run faster. So I can spin it up here. Okay, yeah. So now you can see it, it's simulating quicker. And let's see, I can turn the waveforms back on. These are already turned on. Anyway, it's just a really cool, for very simple circuits, you can put a circuit together and do a basic simulation in minutes, and all from a website. And then they have a whole bunch of like sample circuits. I did some of these some time ago. Let's see if I can find them. Public unlisted. Oh, that's for this one. Okay, so how do I go find the ones that I already had? Search, recent, popular. Here's some example. I'll just pull up an example. I don't know. RC step response. And I can discard this because I don't need to save it. Anyway, I can zoom in on it. So how cool is that as a kind of a simple training tool or a reminder or just to play around? What do you think, Udo?
Yep. It's very nice. Yeah.
And
There's something like that also in Tinkercad. You can do similar things.
Yeah, there's a number of these out there.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can download this one to your phone and play with it on your phone.
Will that tell you if whatever you design is going to work?
Well, I mean, it gives you some clues, right? And I would say for basic circuits, yeah, sure, it would.
Does it have a white smoke emitter?
Actually, you'll be funny. The one in Tinkercad, if you overload like a LED or so,
yeah,
it simulates some smoke coming out.
Well, this one does something similar. Let's see if I can find an LED, voltage and ground.
So if you take an LED and forgot to put a resistor in series, yeah, it'll go up in smoke.
LED array. Okay, so you can see them light up, right? So when the voltage hits a certain level, so let's crank up the voltage until they blow. They've got 220 ohm resistors for current limiting. Okay, so let's just crank the voltage up. Oh, we popped a couple already.
Yeah.
Yep, there they go.
So there you go.
No smoke though.
No smoke radio.
Well, as long as you don't smoke your computer, right?
Yeah.
I wish I could find let's see. Why can't profile? Let's go to my profile. Student, teacher. I just 11 years ago I joined. I don't remember if I paid for it or not. Let's see. Search. Recent popular. Workspace. Oh. Here we go. I think this is mine. Yeah. So this is one I did 7 years ago. So I'll throw that one away. Okay, so this one was a circuit that a friend of mine asked me to play around with. He had an off-road vehicle, a sand car like me, and he wanted to have a light on his dashboard that would come on if the temperature of his motor would reach a certain threshold that he set. Like a red light. It's like, hey, you just hit the high temp, right? That kind of thing. And he wanted it to stay on until he reset it. And so I made this little guy. Let's turn off some of these let's see. Where's the meters? Oh, they're down here. So I can turn that one off. And I can turn that one off. And I can turn that one off. Okay. So now we have just the circuit. So in here, one thing you can't do with this, at least I don't know, if you can't document it, you can't put notes on it, which would be very handy. So I'm looking at this after many years. But basically, I have a differential amplifier that amplifies the current because it's connected to a temperature sensing device. A thermistor would be voltage. An RTD would be current, right? Because it changes the resistance, which changes the current, if I'm getting that right. So this resistor here would represent the temperature sender. And then I'm measuring the current across a small resistance. And I take that, and then what do? Oh, then I have a comparator that compares it to a set voltage and turns on a transistor if you exceed that set voltage. And that's basically it. I don't remember what the diode is for. So it's running now, and this is, what would that be, Udo? What's that symbol?
That's normally a light bulb.
Okay, that is a light bulb. Okay, so if I were to click on this resistor and I go to the adjust and I manipulate the value of this resistor.
Yeah.
Oh, I want resistance.
You know what the diode is? That's your latch for
Oh,
holding
you're
it.
right. You're right. Thank you. Okay, so now if I better turn on a voltage. Let's look at the voltage, right? We want to look at this voltage. So I'll turn that one on. And now I'll move this down a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to continue to adjust this resistor. And if I, so you can right away, you can see if I reduce it, or if I make it higher, if I make the resistance higher, that reduces the current. Look, the light's already on, right? So to reset this, I have a switch in here somewhere. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? I don't see my reset switch. Well, I guess it would be here if I, this is it right here. There it is. Okay, so there's the reset. Oh, but I still have a high resistance, so that should be good.
Yeah, you close your switch and then turn the resistance down, and then the lights should stay on until you reset it.
Oh yeah. That's right. Well, no, because I'm turning the resistance down. That means more current.
Or up, whatever temperature sensor you have.
Yeah, it should go up. So let's go way up. So I turn that off.
But the light stays on until.
Yeah, so I'm trying to remember how I did this. Do I have another switch in here? I don't see another one.
No, you're fine. You just change the temperature. Go up with the temperature.
Well, I'm already up pretty high.
That just went off. Right
64K. Maybe it goes the other way. Let's drop it down.
Where's the voltage?
Okay, so we're looking at the blue line is this voltage right here.
Okay.
And so that's the input to the comparator. And oh, let's look at this one too. That would be this guy. Let's turn that voltage on. So now I'm looking at this potentiometer and I'm looking at the output of the amplifier. And
why dear?
Oh, there we go. Okay, that's correct. Okay. So now I can adjust my threshold with this guy. So you can see the green line is my set point. So if I leave it right here, and then I come back over to the sensor transmitter, and I start increasing the voltage. 300 ohm. Oh, it's going down again. I forget. This seems like it's working backwards. Oh, the light's on. Okay. Let's reset. Okay. And I'm going to bring this guy down a little bit. Oh, no, let's go up. So let's put him down a little lower. Put him right there. Then I'll grab this one and it should start to go up. It's going down. Why is it going down? Well, I have to play to remember how I
Well,
got this set up.
you have to take the output from the first up on the left side, make it sure it's at 0, you know. So then you set the other one on the part on the right,
Okay.
so, just below the threshold. Then when the voltage goes up, then
Yeah.
it will trigger the light. So that the right part is more like a 0
Oh.
adjustment. It's an offset adjustment.
Okay, so here we are at 0. And if I reduce the resistance on this guy,
So you have an NTC or a PTC temperature sensor?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I'm trying to look at these. It looks like
Because-
it looks like these graphs are superimposed on each other, right?
Yeah, what you have to do now is play around with the part to the right until something happens, and then
Yeah.
you know that's like a 0 adjust.
Okay, let's just make these pretty close. And once this gets past here, then the graph will reset. And right. Okay, there we go. Okay, so our set point is at less than 500 millivolts, which seems low, 800 millivolts. And the sensor, so when I go up in resistance, the voltage goes down. It's going negative. Why is it going negative?
No, because that's how the
Yeah. See, it won't go above 0. I wonder if this one will go negative. Nope. Huh. Well, something needs to be inverted. I don't know if this was the final version of when I did this so many years ago, but
well, it makes sense, but it depends on what type of sensor you have on the left side, you know?
right.
So yeah, you have the right one is adjustment for the offset. The left one is then the sensor.
Yeah.
So
This one's the sensor.
so you have to pretty much set it to the value what it would be in the high temperature, and then adjust the right one just so it comes on.
Range.
So
Well, but clearly this point here should go positive and not negative, because this is always positive.
right, it should go positive when the temperature is above certain value.
So let's just play. You can see the milliamps. So right now it's 55.3 milliamps. If I increase the resistance, milliamps should drop.
Well, if you increase the resistance, then the output would go down. Because wait a second, you have your negative up on, that doesn't make sense. You have your negative line on that thing never goes positive in the way how it is. Unless the resistance is going down.
Mm-hmm.
No, that doesn't work. No, wait. Wow. I'm looking at that cannot work.
Let's get rid of these again. We don't need to solve this here. I just wanted to show this little tool to you guys.
Think about, you have positive on the top, 12 volt. So you need a balance voltage. So
I'm not in run mode. That's right. So I gotta sort of put it in run mode. I gotta hit this button again. There we go. Okay. So
okay, now we'll see.
See, here's 0 down here, the blue, and
yeah, I'm looking at the voltages. You have You have 3 volts at the negative in 306 there, so they're both negative.
Let's take a look at the output of this.
You have 200 milliohm between the. Is that milliohms under?
Yeah, that's milliohms. And
Why is
forget-
that?
I don't know why. I don't remember why I did that.
That sounds a little bit very low.
Well, we could adjust it very easily.
Yeah.
What would you think?
I have. What's the top resistance there? 100
100,
ohms?
yeah, 100.
And what's we need to know what the temperature gauge, the temperature sensor is.
34.3. Well, actually, it varies, but
Yeah, no, but what the standard is at 25 C, so like 70.
let's try 100 ohms here.
No, hang on, I have to do some calculations there. Now I need a piece of paper. So you have 100 ohm up there. You have. So yeah, this does not make any sense. I have a kilo ohm down there. Okay. Who came up with the schematic?
Me.
Okay, I'm not saying anything. But it's very unusual. Okay, let me for temperature measurement.
I remember when I first did this, it was working, and it was working great, but I've forgotten something apparently. And
it doesn't make much sense in my world with the arrangements of the first op amp with the positive and the negative as it's drawn.
mhm.
But
Would
no, it makes it, yeah, but why it works like a current sensor, but why? That's normally don't want to have current going through a temperature sensor because it creates heating. So
well, this is
that much.
this is an automotive something. It's like
Yeah.
the radiator temperature. It's a probe that sticks down into the hot water in the radiator. And it's an RTD, right? So it changes temperature. It changes
Right,
resistance
but
with temperature.
the NTCs and PTCs, positive or negative temperature coefficient.
Oh, right.
So let's see if the temperature goes a little.
Apparently, I triggered Udo, guys.
Yeah, well, it pretty much what it is. The threshold is reached for the first op amp on the left side. Then the first op amp should go to positive or to go to 0, and otherwise it will be negative.
Mhm.
So if the voltmeter on the left side below the first op amp on the left side, if you monitor that, it should change when the threshold is reached. Not this one, the other one. This one, yeah, that one. So
it's at 0.
yeah, and when you change there should be eventually, when you change the value of that, something should happen eventually.
Well, I played around with this. Let me go back down to 200 milliohms. I don't know. Obviously, you can't get a 200 milliohm resistor, but
No, you're changing yeah, okay. Yeah, that's why I said normally you pretty much you measure the current with the sensor. You wouldn't you normally would create more like a bridge where you measure the resistance. That's why I like.
Well, you know, you've got current going through this resistor that
Right.
changed, and you're measuring
Which-
the voltage across on each side, right?
Yeah, but you're relying on the offset voltage of the op amp, which might drift with temperature. So that's why I say it's not an ideal
Right,
circuit to measure temperature set point.
right. Okay. I get that. That's because I'm not an expert like you.
Well,
Let's put this in. Let's kind of make that.
I need the voltage on the left side there.
That one?
That one, yeah. And then change the resistance on the left side until something change. So
See, now it's not changing. I don't know why.
yeah, because you have to have a very high resistance in order to get something to change. Because
Oh,
the
there we
thing-
go. Okay.
Yeah. Here we go. What's the resistance?
But it's going
800, okay.
It's going negative instead of positive.
Yeah, that it will go negative because the current goes the negative is on the top. So as more current
Right.
goes through, it eventually it needs to reach the threshold from the left op amp and the output goes negative. So if you back off the resistance a little bit, it will eventually go back to negative. Yeah, I see. So yeah, go a little bit. So
So
it's
you get-
about you'll be like okay, you go down a little bit or go up with resistance. Sorry, what was it, 500 ohms or something like that?
Yeah, 500, about 500.
Yeah. Now you can play with the other part on the right side until the light comes on.
It should come on when it hits 0. But I can't go below
No,
0.
wait a
so that's-
second. The light will not come on because the output of the op amp is. I'm sorry. The light will come on when the Viper is. That does not make any sense here because you're going in with a negative voltage in the positive input of the second op amp,
Oh, yeah.
and which is okay, but that means, yeah, that means you have to. Okay, now I know what it works. Take the left part and just reduce the resistance a little bit, like to 400 until it goes back to 0.
It's at 0.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Now adjust the right part until the light comes on. It's not coming on.
It's not going all the way to 0.
Yeah, there's something wrong with the circuit.
Yeah. Yeah. But this is what you can do with this tool. You can play
Yeah.
around and it shows you enough. I don't know. I must have made a different version of this because it
Yeah, I mean the right side does not make sense with the left side going to negative. Yeah, unless the temperature sensor goes the other way around, we have to know what the type of temperature sensor you have. But
What else did I play around with? Discard that one. I was rebuilding a little tuner and it had a failed transistor, so I was playing around with power supply stuff for a tuner. This was it looks like an unfinished thing. Triplite, basic. Oh, this was another playing around with adding LEDs to a stereo receiver. Now I did it all wrong because I ended up using a voltage source, and I should have been using a variable current source rather than a voltage source.
Well, you're okay, but your resistors are too low. That's
Yeah.
what.
Right. Anyway, this is a fun little tool.
Yeah.
And you know, it's fun for looking at very basic stuff. Oh, I did a bridge rectifier with LEDs so you could see the voltages working. Helps to visualize what's going on, where the conduction is on the diodes.
Right.
Anyway, okay. Return to net. Sorry. Did you already go over the latest with the hand clock, Udo, with the guys?
I touched on it in the beginning, yeah, but that it looks actually very promising. How that I see it so far.
I asked a question of Brian. You know, the question is, will his new software run on the Innovato engine?
Yeah, Michael is testing it, or he's playing with it. So I'm waiting for Michael to. He said he's doing a image. I'm waiting for that. And
I'm glad to hear Michael is still involved. That's really nice. I like
so
that.
I otherwise I would do it, but if he still wants to do it, great, then I hold back a little bit, and when he does it, then I will make it available, So
great.
people can download it or they don't want it, they can order a card, or they send it to me and I flash it for them,
So the one that we're talking about is not Openham clock. It's not OHB.
It's OHB, Openham clock backend.
But that's the backend, not the
right. Yeah, that's what Brian does.
Okay. So Openham clock has both a web interface and an installable version, right?
Right, but that is the one which is running on a server and dishes out websites. Which I don't know if I like it. I looked at it a couple of times, but it looks it might be okay for certain people, but it doesn't do it for me.
Right. No, I get it. But the question is, would it run with that one?
Not as easy. I mean, you probably may be able to whip it in shape and configure it, but it's not as easy as a hand clock where I look at the screen and know exactly where conditions are,
right.
What's going on.
But I guess my question would be, would that one install on the Innovato Quadra?
Well, you don't need to install anything. You just open up a browser and direct your
True,
URL.
But he also advertises the fact that he has both an installable version and the web version. So I'm wondering if that install version would work on on the Armbian operating system.
I mean, I don't know that part. I did not worry about too much because it's not an option for me.
Yeah,
to be honest.
The reason I ask about it is that I understand it's not an option for you, and I get why. But there are a lot of people that like it because it's pretty.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's just human nature. So there's going to be a lot of people,
but it's not useful for really. I mean, sure, it's pretty, but it doesn't provide the same information. So yeah.
Well, maybe that'll start to come out. It'll be interesting to see how many people only care that it looks nice because they want a decoration in their shack.
Right. Okay. Then you can use the other one with a browser. Yeah.
I guess so. As far as keeping the Innovato Quadra running for people, because so many of us have that box, right?
Yeah.
What will be the options for that? The back end. So there's
with the open OHB, the Open Ham Clock backend, you get everything in one device. So you get it will run on your Innovado. They already proven that, and it will include the element of the backend server in that application. So you have your own little server in the Innovado, which pulls the information from the public sources.
Okay, I didn't get that. See,
Yeah.
that was where I was confused because
Yeah.
I assumed that a back-end solution always runs on a cloud server.
Nope. You can run the
Okay.
backend. You pretty much do the same thing what the backend server does, but in a smaller scale, just for yourself
Okay. Okay.
in your own device. Because that's the only thing. The only thing that concerns for me is, but maybe not really a valid concern, is instead of having one server collecting all the public sources and
Right.
then make it available for the, let's say, 20,000 ham clocks, now you have suddenly 20,000 ham clocks pulling on the same sources.
I was just
Now-
about to ask you that same question.
Which, okay, if it's public sources, they have means of dealing with that type of load. It's not that abnormal, but we have to be mindful then that we don't pull too much. Meaning, if they only update like the maps get updated like every hour or something like that, so that's not too bad.
I was assuming that Brian was going to host it himself on his own server.
No, that is not how it works. I mean, there is no server needed. I mean, no backend server needed.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
So I thought the same thing too at the beginning. I said, okay, how did that work? And then he said, no, it's yeah, you run your own. So I said, okay, I don't want to really create my own server, but now what it really boils down to is it's part of the application. So
Yes.
there's a server part in the application,
right.
and then there is the original ham clock front end, which is pretty much what we have today, with the additional backend server module in it.
And would that be two different applications running on the Innovado?
It's normally, yeah, it's pretty much like two different applications, but it would be only one package,
Right.
It's not you have to install, because we cannot do that we tell people, oh, now do that cryptic comment and a command line to install that and that. No, it has to be installed together and
Okay.
and easy,
But wouldn't that also put additional loading on the Quadra?
But the Quadra is very powerful. You will be surprised. That thing can do video streaming. That's what it's designed for. So it is more powerful than a Raspberry Pi, actually.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, minimum like a 3 Raspberry 3, and even like a 4. The 5 is a little bit more powerful, but it can do a lot. It has a lot of horsepower.
And it would also cause it to initiate quite a few more packets on your own router, right? Because it's going to be sending requests off to multiple servers.
Not necessarily. Now when I look at that a little bit, because it reads the same information what it did before. Look from your Quadra, okay, on your home network. It still reads the same information, just not from the backend server. It reads it from the public sources. It's the same amount of data from looking on a single Quadra, but from the data sources standpoint, they will see an increase load.
Right. Okay.
But
that makes sense. Well, it's very interesting, and we're still wondering exactly what's going to happen with Elwood's own server.
Right. I mean, there is still a possibility that will be, yeah.
Has Keith made any more progress? Has he any updates?
I
from
did
him?
not hear anything from him. But we see some, as I mentioned at the beginning, we see some small problems popping up on the edges, like the satellite updates don't work.
My assumption on that, and maybe you could support or refute it, is that there were certain things that Elwood had to do manually behind the scenes to keep it running, like updating those epoch files for the satellites, right?
Yeah, he might have. I mean, you could do this with a script, but he might have done this manually, because these. I mean, we're now on the 17th, and the updates are 13 and a half. Yeah, they're 14-day old. So the update stopped after his passing. So I don't, that's why I'm a little bit question if it was something he did manually or something there's a bug in his script.
Right.
Because it was going on, the updates were still going on even after he passed away. So so it stopped.
Well, you know what? I
a
think
couple of days later,
I think it's interesting and fun that it's generated so much activity to duplicate it, replicate it, save it. It's what ham radio people do.
Yeah. No, I mean it created a lot of confused people.
Well, yeah.
It's like, I mean, sometimes what I read on Facebook or social media, I just shake my head and say, "Oh my God!"
I know.
Like, is it really? I mean, are they really that naive? Like,
I think that's what a lot of. I mean, yeah.
There's a lot of people out there. You could sell them swampland and they would buy it. Yeah. Like, oh my God, yeah.
Or a bridge.
Yeah, a bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge, right?
Oh man.
But there's a lot of stuff going around, and yeah.
I had a fun visit on Saturday with one of my club members, Bob, Michael Ritz. You there, Bob?
Yeah.
Okay. I went and visited Mike Ritz's station. He has a really nice contest station. And I'll give you guys another quick peek at it. It's just a couple of photos. It's pretty cool though. Do zoom and share again. Screen one. Okay. So this is W7VO. It's about 20 miles north of Portland. And Michael Ritz, W7VO, he's a recently retired ARRL regional vice president. And he's got a very nice station. It's a dual station, so it's designed for two operators. And he has two 60-foot towers outside on about 2 acres of property. And he's got two 1,500-watt amps. This one he said was a commercial amp, and this one is an Ameritron. And I went over there.
Space heaters, right?
Space heaters, yeah. And I went over there. They were doing the RTTY contest, and so I got to do a little bit of RTTY for the first time. I haven't got it working well on my own station yet in the software. I was going to work on that today, but I got distracted. But it was fun. It was it's quite a nice station, and the guy has he's got, like so many of us, he's got a ton of stuff. They were also, while in between doing QSOs, they were working on an ancient Zenith radio. A really cool one too. And this is his neighbor that comes over frequently to operate. He's got two identical K3 transceivers. And then two computers network together so that they could have the same N1MM log. It's really a cool station. Anyway, that was that.
Ask him to come to breakfast.
We're doing breakfast this week, aren't we, Bob?
Yeah. Ask him to come.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. I'll do that. It's a bit of a hike from Scappoose.
Yeah.
We're doing breakfast every Saturday morning. You all will come, you know. If you come to Chicago.
Oh, you do that every Saturday?
Every Saturday morning at 8 o'clock in a local deli, we have a club breakfast. I know quite a lot of people are early up, early risers. And
Not me.
we have about 20 plus members every time showing up.
Wow,
My record was 27.
So what restaurant do you go to that can handle 20 people?
There's a local deli. It's Max's Deli in Highland Park, which, we pretty much take over half of the restaurant.
Oh, I'm sure they love that.
Oh yeah, they're like, they set up the tables already for us. We open the restaurant always on Saturday morning.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, there's always some big problem solving going on, discussions.
Bob, if we get very many more of us, we're going to have to move.
I thought about that. I'm not sure where we would find some place that could accommodate us. Udo, we only have about 6 guys that show up.
Oh,
we're slowly growing it, but I don't know, Bruce. Where would we go?
I don't know. We'd have to figure it out. But
the club can't find a place to meet. I don't know where we can find a place to meet.
Oh,
you know what? I am now convinced that the place we should use is the Boy Scout hall.
Yeah, no local police station or something like that with a training room or something.
Well, I mean, this Scout hall has got a great room, great audio visual. The only downside is that there's no food.
Oh, I'm
that's
for
why
the club meetings and then.
I suggested directors, and I never got any feedback from anybody. There's a half a dozen restaurants within a half a block. They'll deliver, and directors has a wonderful media room with everything that we would need, and no one's ever followed up that I know of.
The big problem, Bob, is that our club is 100% focused on contesting. They don't want to spend a dime if it's not related to contesting.
It may be free from directors because my wife is a Rotarian. They make their free.
Yeah.
So you told me you don't have a restaurant up there where like has a room or something where you can.
We do. Well, we do, but the large and the really nice places cost money.
Oh, sleep.
Yeah.
They want
if you tell them, hey, we're coming we will do that like every a month or so and show up with 10 people and so
we've done that, and still been difficult to find just the right place. And I'm gonna grab again. So this is the Boy Scout room, and I joined this club, so now I belong to 2 clubs. And man, this presentation the other week was amazing. This guy was a really, really smart engineer. His job was to maintain Microsoft's AI data centers. And so he gave us a really cool presentation on how AI actually works. We got a little bit into the ham radio part, but the background information on AI was so interesting. It took a little longer to do it. But anyway, this is the room. There's a great 2 big monitors behind it. It's a great room. And I think we should do that. The other cool thing for me, who remembers this?
Yeah.
So when I was at W7VO station on Saturday, I noticed that he had this book on the shelf. And it's 1974 edition of the call book, which of course was a telephone book for ham radio operators before the days of the internet. Well, I got my license, my first novice license, in late 1973. So this would have been the first call book printing right after I got my license. And
didn't they also had some international call
they
signs?
might have, yeah, they might have.
Because I remember seeing my old call in one of these books from the US, but that was in Germany. Yeah.
Where did it go? So you can ignore my daughter's birthday party there. But my granddaughter's, excuse me. Anyway, so yes, my name was in the book. Here it is. WN2SII, when I lived in New York. And that's
Hard Scrabble Road?
Hard Scrabble Road.
Yeah. I remember that book because there was a few editions running around in Germany in our club, because you get, back then you had a lot of people send QSL cards, like the paper thing, like you send by mail or via the bureau and stuff like that. I mean,
that was when mail was 35 cents an ounce too.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right. They spelled my name wrong, but it's okay. And but yeah, that was really fun to see that in there.
Yeah.
It was that was a cool place to grow up. I mean, the history of the country is centered in those areas. Hardscrabble Road was a road that Revolutionary War people would travel on. There were houses along that road that George Washington stayed in, so it was pretty cool. It was a good place to grow up. And then somebody gave me this. So that's another thing that...
Ari made that last week from everybody.
That's right. And then I saw this, which I like. So I'm wondering how all of the band maps are going to look now that we have this complicated 60-meter breakdown. If you look at your ARRL band maps and reference cards, adding all this is going to almost be too much. There's no space for these. Wonder how they're going to do that.
Sure, they're scratching their heads, wondering how they're going to do it themselves.
Well, now comes the problem with all the radio software. They have to release updates, because they, like in Yaesu radios where this is hard coded.
Yeah.
And things. So there will be an interesting how they catch up. I mean,
this is a pretty good layout, though, right? It differentiates channels from VFO frequencies. It talks about the watts. They didn't say ERP. They should put ERP, or that should be ERP. But that's pretty good layout. We'll see whether they end up doing that.
Well, the interesting part is now the people who operate the FT8. Yeah, now you're in the middle there, and
right.
Well, I was running until recently, until this whole thing goes in place. I run FT8 on 60 meters right in the middle there with 100 watt.
Well, were you able to? Let me look at the old map. 60 meters, 60. Yeah. Where is it? 60.
It was. Oh, what is it?
Oh, here it is. So it was. Okay, so yeah, you could do digital on any of the channels before.
Right, but there was the 60-meter frequency. What was it?
You had to use the center frequency. So you could do FT8 as long as you kept it to less than 3 gig, at 2.4.
5.357 5.3. Yeah, the one which is marked in the middle there, the FT8, that was the old FT8 channel.
Okay.
And yeah, you could run power. I mean, you could run your normal 100-watt radio. Now you have to return the power down.
Right.
Yeah, I wonder how many people really do that.
Well, that gets back to the unfortunate, I'll say maybe growing number of people that think that it's not illegal unless you get caught,
Right.
which
Like
is unfortunate.
Like the speed limit, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Indeed.
Or the appliance operator, they don't even know how to turn power down, you know.
Unrelated to ham radio, I was I had a reason, but I was digging through my dad's stuff. He passed away, I don't know, 4 years ago now, maybe 5. And I found his discharge papers from the U.S. Army, right near the end of World War II. And I found a couple of letters that somebody in the UK had written him in 1941 and 1942, just as the war was ramping up. And man, that was a sobering thing to read, all the letters had to be
Censored.
had to be opened, right? And well, we only got a couple minutes here, since I'll just do this again. What the heck? So yeah, so here's one of the letters. And this is the censor stamp, the examiner. They open the letter and read it to make sure that there was nothing secret being shared. Found my dad's dog tag. He never went overseas. He enlisted near the end of the war. This is the person that wrote him. We were trying to figure out who that was. These are the letters. And you read through these and you see the references to the war. In one of these, it's like, oh, I see the U.S. just declared war on Japan, and it's like, wow, and then you think about how our country came together back then and how it's split apart right now. It's just, I don't know. It's definitely a interesting time, but I thought that was really interesting. Anyway, yeah.
Yep.
Looks like I scared most people away. Sorry about that.
Interesting. No, I think, yeah, I have to get going. Still have some. I'm working on the side here, my real job, So I have to go back to that one. I'll have a nice evening.
You bet, Udo. Good to see
Afternoon
you.
over there in the West Coast, and
Thanks for doing what you're doing to help
Yeah.
Hemlock.
yeah, try to get it going, keep it going. Well,
Right. And guys, I need to blast too. I have another meeting at 2:00.
bye, everybody.
So
All right. See you next
thanks,
week.
Bob. I'll see you on Friday.
You got it. Bring a guest.
All right. Bye.